part 2 of the podcast today, Marcel. It is the UFC 288 preview here on the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and like I said, Big Marcel is joining me. We just recapped UFC Vegas 72. That was a fun podcast, Marcel, but I'm looking forward to talking about UFC 288 with you, man. So your initial thoughts on this card, because let's get right into it, guys. Why not, right? What's your thoughts on it, Marcel, looking at? Because I think this card's pretty good, man.
Fucking horrible card. No, just kidding. I think it's a fun card, man. I think it leveled up obviously with Bilal against Gilbert adding to the card. After Charles against Dariush fell off. I think there are a lot of close fights on this card, man. Definitely for even on the main card, but definitely in the prelims and early prelims as well. There are some unknown guys for a lot of people, I think, on this card, which is also always fun to see new names, I think. And looking forward to it, man. I mean, I think it's a fun card, like I said. And let's go. What do you think?
The cards, I think it's really good. I think there's gonna be a lot of finishes too. I think it's not like I think it's like a 9 out of 10, like maybe not 9, 8 out of 10, 8.5. Like I think it's a good card. Like maybe it needs one more huge fight, but like undercard is pretty solid, man. I think so. Couple of quick comments before we start. We got Antoine. What's up, guys? What's up, man? No worries. You can go back and watch the other show that you missed. Watch the replay. Solid card. I like it. And we title defense. Only 3. Aljo could tie that. Oh, it's interesting. Okay. Where would that put him on the list? I mean, top 3, I guess. And maybe he's the best ever. I don't know. Alex first opponent, we don't know. Probably a highly ranked guy though. I see the Sterling Cejudo meeting. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. That's actually funny.
Cejudo looks pretty intense there. So
yeah. Cejudo was really surprised by that.
Now the betting line is in his favor. It shifted today. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Anyways, just by a bit, but yeah. All right, Marcel, let's get into it. I think, right? All right, guys. First fight on the card, we have Daniel Santos taking on Johnny Munoz Jr. in the UFC bantamweight division. And the odds for this one, we have Daniel Santos minus 180, Johnny Munoz plus 155. Marcel, your pick.
Yeah, Willie Cat against Kit Kavembo. Daniel Santos. I think he's a fun fighter, man. I really like him. Came in the UFC with a lot of expectations after almost not fighting for 2.5 years. Fought against Julio Arce, got pretty much picked apart by Julio, I think. But in the second fight, man, against Castaneda, I think he was losing the first round, but came back, man, with a good finish, a really good finish. He's also a teammate of Charles Oliveira, right? I think he's a fun fighter to watch. Then you have on the other side, you have Johnny Munoz Jr. Yeah, man, I think we both picked him in that Gravely fight, right? Of the Gravely fight, and he lost that one in the first round. Then he won against Liudvik last time out. He's 2-2 in the UFC. I think he's a decent fighter. Although I still think he won that Nate Maness fight, man. In my opinion, he should be 3-1 in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Fun fight, fun opener. I think we will see. I think we'll see a finish, and I'm picking Daniel Santos to get it done, dude. I think he gets it done late in the fight, third round, TKO.
Yeah, that's my pick too, actually, Marcel. I have the same pick as you. Still not sure what the thing with Johnny Munoz now after that fight with Gravely, because it wasn't like the biggest punch that knocked him out, Kind of worries me a bit, Marcel, especially against a guy like this that, swings bombs. And, man, that last fight was crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
You took some heavy damage and they came back and destroyed Castaneda. That was just nasty.
Remember the UFC had that fight on the main card and then it dropped it to the prelims and then it went to fight of
the night. Awesome fight. Looked great in that fight. I remember I thought he would win his UFC debut and he looked just kind of flat against Julio Arce, but that's UFC debut. That's against a veteran like that. He looked a lot better. Even though he got dropped, I get it. But the fact he came back and won that fight is just pretty impressive. I think he wins, Marcel. I just can't pick Johnny Munoz now. I just don't trust him anymore. And the two, again, I hate doing it because it's not like it's fault you got matched against these guys, but the 2 wins aren't against the best opposition. I don't think either guy's in the UFC anymore, right? So, Yeah, I can't pick him. I got to go with Daniel Santos. I'll go with him by TKO as well, Marcel. So we have the same pick. All right, let's get to the next fight here, guys. We got Joseph Holmes taking on Claudio Ribeiro at UFC middleweight division, and odds on this one, we have Ribeiro minus 175. Holmes plus 150. What do you think?
Another difficult fight to pick, to be really honest, man. Joseph Holmes in the UFC came from Dana White looking for a fight, right? After he knocked out Jonathan Paddy and Paddy, I don't know how to say it, in Fury FC. Got before that, won on Contender Series, but didn't get signed off that. 1-2 in the UFC now with a win over Alan Amadowski. Who doesn't win against Alan Amadowski in the UFC? So how can I rate that, to be really honest? Didn't look good against Jamie Pickett in his debut earlier last year, and he got finished by John Park. If you look at Claudio Ribeiro, he had that great win over Valenzuela in the Contender Series, right, with a really annoying corner in his corner. Debut earlier this year against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, got knocked out in the second round, was gassed in that fight. It's difficult, man. I think you either go with Holmes with a decision or with Claudio with a finish, and then I'll be picking Claudio with a finish in the first round here.
Yeah, I agree with you again on this one too. I'll pick him, but again, it's kind of a tricky fight a little bit because Ribeiro looked pretty good on Contender and then didn't look so good on his debut, but. Not too impressed with Holmes, man. Antoine said in the chat, he might be out of here. I don't know. He might get one more even if he loses this fight, but he's got to win this fight for sure. But yeah, I don't. I haven't rated him that highly, Marcel. To be honest with you, I know he's got the physical advantages, but yeah, I don't know. I'll pick Claudio. It's not like a fight I would bet on though, because again, not a lot of UFC sample size to work with Ribeiro. Not really sure how good he is, or if he's not good, because he didn't look great in his debut, that's for sure. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got flyweight fight between Rafael Estevam and Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and the odds for this one, Marcel. We have Estevam minus 190, Zhalgas plus 160. What's your pick?
The thing is here, man, that I think many people will go with Rafael because of his because he's undefeated. But I think Zhalgas is a good fighter, dude, and Zhalgas has been on the really bad side of some decisions in the UFC, dude. In his debut against Paiva, against Marina, a split decision, against Charles Johnson, split decision. He could have been 4-2 in the UFC, right? With the loss to Kaap and Albazi. And he got pretty much shafted in 3 wins and 3 losses that he should have got wins here. Estevam, he got signed off the Contender Series, right? He got the win over Joe Elias in the second round. Decent fighter, I think. But, man, listen, man, Zhalgas has to win right now. He knows he has to win. Fuck it, I'm going with Zhalgas. I think he wins a decision this time. This time he wins a decision.
Someone was talking about the child support. Yeah, I know he's got 2 wives. I don't know how many children he has though. Yeah, I mean, again, the record's deceiving, right, Marcel? Because his opposition was first off pretty good, and second off, the judges hosed him at least twice, right, in those decisions. So 1-5 looks bad, and it could be 1-6 after this one, but he fought better than that looks. Yeah, I don't know.
It's difficult, huh?
It is difficult, because this guy is undefeated. He looked really good on Contender. He looked good in LFA, which I put a lot of stock into. He's a good prospect, but again, no UFC experience. Right now, he faces a guy that's been in there for 15 minutes a bunch of times. What if the guy doesn't put him away? Right, that's the worry. And Zhalgas is tough, but he can be finished. Marcel, I gotta go with Estevam. I'll go with the undefeated prospect here, but yeah, I'm with you, man. And I'm trying not to force anything on this card because there's some other fights that I'm more I'm sure about.
Adam,
these first couple were interesting. Yeah.
Don't forget, he got cardio for days, dude. He has 2 women, so don't forget.
That's 8. What's up, Bircha? How's it going? He's hyped for JDM. JDM's awesome. I love that guy. We all love him here on the podcast. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. We got Phil Hawes taking on Ikram Aliskerov. Is that right? I think I pronounced it right. You
yeah.
Better than me. Yeah.
Ikram Aliskerov, yeah.
Awesome. All right. He is favored here at minus 225, Phil Hawes plus 190. So what do you think about that, man? He's pretty heavy favorite with Phil Hawes in his debut. What do you think?
I think it's legit, dude. I really like Aliskerov. I think Aliskerov is a really good prospect. He only lost to Khamzat Chimaev in his debut, or in his career, which is crazy, right? He looked pretty good in pretty much all of his fights I saw. He also beat the Dutch guy, Joey Birkenboss, back in the day, 2018. Looked good on the Contender Series against Mario Sousa, which is pretty much, that guy is like, has like the worst luck in Contender Series. I think he fought 3 times and he lost 3 times in Contender Series, right? It can be wrong. It can be wrong. Phil Hawes. Yeah, I don't know, man. Phil Hawes hasn't looked great as of lately. He got that win over Darren Win, I know, but the Roman Dolitze fight, he almost had to tap, but then he had a bad knee and he got knocked out by Dolitze really bad. Chris Curtis lost. He looked good actually in the beginning of that fight, and the first good shot Chris Curtis landed, it was over. He can maybe wrestle in this fight, but I think Aliskerov wrestling is better. That's what I think. So I would pick Aliskerov here, and I think he finishes him, man. Submission in the second round. Yeah.
Phil's never been taken down in the UFC, so he has 100% takedown defense. I just went through the fights. It looks like only Kyle Dawkins, he attempted 7 takedowns and didn't get any. It doesn't look like the other opponents even attempted takedowns against him. So kind of a deceiving number there, but I do think he's got pretty grappling. And that's to me where it gets interesting, Marcel, here, is like, what if this guy doesn't get him down, right? Mm-hmm. So I still, for what I saw, he's got a pretty heavy ground game, man. Like, definitely impressive, right? I'm picking this guy to win, but, it is his debut. And again, like, I just wonder, like, if he doesn't get to the ground on the feet. The thing is, Hawes is a pretty good striker, right? It's his chin that's a problem, On the feet, if it stays there, I think Hawes could do decent. And he's a pretty good striker, and I think he can, hold his own in the fight. So for me, I'm taking Ikram or so, but I might just sit this one out as far as a bet goes because I think Hawes is an interesting opponent. I think he's one of those fighters that's like a talented guy with like not a great chin, and that's a tough guy to bet on or bet against. So, anyways, I think Ikram wins. You're right; he probably finishes him. But again, the fact he's never been taken down, that's interesting to me. That's all I'm saying. So we have the same pick there. That's the same guy. Yeah, the guy that Hamza uppercutted. It's his only loss. That's his only time he lost. So he's looked good, man. I watched the tape. He looks good. Heavy ground game, Marcel. That's what I'd say about him. But again, no UFC experience. Yeah, I like his skills too. That's why I'm picking him. Jay and Wonder Woman, maybe later in the future. All right, let's go to the next fight, Marcel. We have Braxton Smith taking on Parker Porter in the heavyweight division. Heavyweights. That's like that movie. I don't know if you've seen that before. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the movie with Ben Stiller, right?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of like kids at camp, like basically.
Yeah.
I
think Ben Stiller plays in it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next fight. Like I said, the beautiful, what's his name? The beautiful monster Braxton Smith, Marcel, taking on Parker.
Yeah,
get this guy's name wrong. Parker Porter. I almost said Porker again. Anyways, the odds for this one, guys, we have Porter minus 180, Braxton Smith plus 155. The odds for this one, I think, open the other way. Yeah, minus 173 on Smith. That's what they opened at. So they obviously have flipped, and the market's coming in mostly on Porter, it seems. I'll start on this one. I have to pick him too, honestly, because I just don't like the other guys look good. Like, don't get me wrong, he's knocking guys out. Like, it's impressive, but like, what's the cardio like, right? Like, what's the wrestling like? Can he go a full 15 minutes in the octagon in his debut? I don't know. I have those question marks. Porter's chin is, again, he's exactly like Hawes a little bit. Like, his chin is, it's not going to hold up if he comes under heavy fire in the first round, right? Probably won't, but I think he can like be smart enough to like grind this one out, man. So I actually agree with the odds being shifted towards Porter. Like, I think he'll probably win like a decision, maybe a late stoppage possibly as well, gets like mount position or something. But like, I just think his cardio is going to be better. That's what I think it comes down to. So I'm praying his chin holds up, but I like Parker Porter here, Marcel. What do you think?
And here's where I'm going to take a gamble. I think Smith knocks him out in the first round.
And he could. That's his win condition, the first round knockout. Absolutely.
That's what I pick. That's my pick. I think that's going to happen. And if it's not happening, then you're probably right.
I just think he's going to wrestle him. That's what I think. But again, and that's why the odds are that way. That's exactly why they are. We'll see. Because again, you're right. His chin is not good, right? That's the worry with betting on Porter. And that last fight, Marcel, was quick. Those quick ones are scary, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So, all right. We have a different pick there, taking a shot on the dog there. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. You guys definitely got a puncher's chance, right? Like, that's what we like to say. So, all right. Go to the next fight here, guys. We got Khaos Williams against Rolando Bedoya making his UFC debut. This is kind of odd matchmaking to me. I'll just say that right off the bat. Like, Khaos, I thought beat Randy Brown in his last fight. I thought Randy Brown won, but it was really competitive. That's what I should say. I did think Brown won. It was super competitive. And then it won the 2 fights before that. And then all of a sudden drops down to facing like an unranked guy he's never fought in the UFC. It's kind of weird. And this guy is on Team Oliveira, right? So he's a good prospect. What are you going to say?
Did they shift the bout order or whatever?
Did they? Did I get it wrong? Wait, hold on.
I thought Marina Rodriguez.
I apologize. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, guys. Yeah. I'll get to that. My bad. You're right. Give me 1 sec. Actually, you know what, Marcel? Do you want to just do it right now, or?
Yeah, let's do it right now. Or why would we shift?
We already started talking about it, guys. Yeah, sorry. So, anyways, my bad. I'll fix it in the description.
Adam just hates the women. He wants to pass it over. So
I just completely missed it. Sorry, guys. I had it wrong in my notes. Actually, there wasn't. I'm looking at the side note. Obviously, it's right. All right.
No worries.
Yeah. So Khaos Williams, but he's a big favorite here. Minus 305 plus 255 in Rolando. Like, I get it, right? Because Khaos, I thought he was really competitive in his last fight. He's looked good in the UFC. He's been a good underdog to back a little bit as well. He's got a lot of power. He's a good striker. He can go 15 minutes. I like him, man. I think he's good. He's underrated. I do wonder about this fight, though. It's interesting, right? Like, why would they match this guy up unless they think that you can give him a good fight? Because it doesn't really make sense otherwise. Maybe UFC really thinks this highly of this dude. I watched the tape on him. I mean, I think he looks pretty good. Like, he's pretty well-rounded. But, again, this is his debut. It's on short notice. Or not short notice, sorry. It's not short notice, excuse me. But, like, it's just his debut in the UFC, and he has no experience. So, I mean, I don't think I can pick him, Marcel. I can't do it. Yeah, I got to go with Khaos Williams. Again, he's kind of a wild card, though. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But, some of those guys from that camp, Shooter Box, Brazil, Marcel, have done really well. That's all I'm saying, I'll take Khaos, guys. I'll take him to win. I guess by knockout, but because I don't think the fight goes 3 rounds. I guess I'll take Khaos by finish, but I do think this dude has a chance. I don't know. What do you think, man? Do you think he's got a chance?
For sure, he has a chance. I mean, Khaos is not really, how do you say that? Really, really consistent, man. Sometimes, and this actually feels kind of like when Khaos came in the UFC on short notice against Alex Morono. Remember, and everybody was sure Morono was going to win that fight, and then he didn't. Although this is not short notice, but kind of feels that way because this comes out of left field pretty much. Because I expected Khaos to fight somebody else and not somebody in his debut. Although I think Bedoya is a pretty decent fighter. He trains with Alex Oliveira, right? With Charles Oliveira, and with Daniel Santos, with the Diego Lima team.
Yeah.
But I can't pick him, man. I mean, the opposition they faced. I mean, Khaos fought way better competition, in my opinion, and I think Bedoya might get him to the decision, but I think Khaos wins. I'm picking Khaos here with a decision win, and maybe I think probably a finish gets. It's probably more people get more for a finish for Khaos, but I think Bedoya can get it to a decision.
Yeah, it's possible. Again, I think he's just kind of a wild card here. I don't expect him to win, but if he does, I won't be surprised because the matchmaking is very interesting to me here. Anyways, all right, we're done that fight, and I apologize. I skipped the wrong fight here. Now we're back in right order, Marcel. We got Marina Rodriguez taking on Virna Jandiroba. Is that how they say it?
Yeah, that's just Jandiroba. It's just
Jandiroba. That's wrong.
I asked Thiago, so
there you go. I'll listen to her manager. Odds for this one: Marina's favored -135, Virna +115. I'll start on this one too. I like Marina in this fight, man. I do. The odds have actually shifted, which is interesting in this fight, guys. Went from -275 Marina down to -135. That's interesting to me. I guess there's some sharp action that thinks that she's gonna get wrestled by Virna here. It's possible, but like I think in that Jourdain fight, she kind of showed that she can grapple pretty well on the ground defensively. She can get back up, and obviously on the feet, I think she's a better striker. I think she wins. But Marcel, I'm surprised she's 36. You know, she's quickly got up there in age a little bit, but I still think she's a good fighter. I know she got knocked out her last fight, but I don't think that Virna has that power threat in this fight, and I think Marina is the better striker. I really do. Think she can like keep the fight mostly upright, win decision here, Marcel. That's my pick here. What do you think?
Yeah, same, man. I mean, Rodriguez has to prove something, you know. She lost to Lemos last time out, and she knows she has to win here. Virna, she's good on the ground, you know, but we saw that Marina can keep it standing and that she can survive on the ground. For example, against Mackenzie Dern, that second round, which looked really bad back then, but she survived it. And she survived against Ribas as well the first round, and then knocked her out in the second. So there is no upside here for me to pick Virna. I like Virna a lot, but I think that Rodriguez keeps it standing and wins the decision. That's how I expect the fight to go.
Yeah, we have the same pick in that one. All right, let's go to the next one. Kennedy Nzechukwu against Devin Clark at 205. Kennedy is a favorite here. Marcel -190, Clark +160. What do you think about this one?
Difficult fight, man, in my opinion, because I think both are really inconsistent in the UFC. If you look at Devin Clark, got a surprising win to me against Dawoon Jung. I actually absolutely didn't expect that to happen. That was, by the way, I hated that card, dude. That was such a bad time, that card, February 4th. I remember that very well. Before that, lost to Murzakanov, which looks pretty much a lot better than it looked back then, because I think Murzakanov didn't look great until then in the UFC. Got that weird win at heavyweight against William Knight before that. It's really inconsistency, man, with Clark. I mean, definitely he wins most of his fights. He should win, you know, and when he fights guys who are a little bit higher than him, he loses. So I was so surprised he won against Dawoon Jung, not gonna lie. If you look at Kennedy and Nzechukwu, listen, man, he got two fight win streak, but in the Kutalaba fight, he was in trouble, but Kutalaba shoot for a takedown. Still don't understand why, but he did. Overcame adversity, won in the second round. If you look at his fights against Nigomirianu, which was a close fight, and I think he should have won. But for example, that fight that he had against Dawoon Jung, he didn't look good there. He was like really, he pretty much stood there like he stood against Kutalaba, like really in like this against the cage. It's really difficult, this one, man. I'm picking Kennedy and Nzechukwu. I think he finishes the fight. I don't know which round, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Clark wins. This is like a really wild card fight to me. It can be 50-50, can go either way. Really difficult fight to pick.
That's the thing. Like, I'm mostly picking the favorites at this point. Like, I'll pick a few dogs coming up here, but like, this is another fight that you're right, Marcel, can go either way. Like, I'm going to pick Kennedy by finish too. That's my pick because, you know, he's just a beast. Like, and I think, you know, his cardio is pretty. I mean, they both have good cardio, right? I just think Kennedy can kind of outlast him a little bit more. I think he's a little tougher too. I kind of feel like he'll finish him by late TKO, but like if I'm wrong and like Devin's wrestling plays out here, maybe I'm going to be wrong about it. It's not a fight I really want to bet on. I do think the line flipped in this fight too. The odds, yeah, Devin Clark opened as the favorite in this fight, -135. Now he's obviously a +160 underdog. So I mean, everyone kind of feels like Kennedy's going to win. I guess I do too. But you're right, Marcel. Clark's kind of like another wild card in this card. Like I feel like there's a few of these guys that like could win, but I'm not willing to like make the risk. I guess take the risk.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Drew Dober taking Matt Frevola, lightweight division. Great fight. I mean, this is going to be either performance of the night or fight of the night. I mean, this fight's going to be awesome. Odds for this one: Drew Dober -200, Matt Frevola +170. What do you think about this one, man? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a fun fight, man. It's definitely a good one. It's two action fighters against each other. You know, and the thing is with Matt Frevola, I always think like his ground game is good, but he really loves the striking, you know, and it finally paid off for him in his last fight against Altman Azaitar. You know, he knocked him out. Really good win there. Dober, man, Dober was on the verge of losing against Green, man, and out of nowhere he knocked him out pretty much. You know, 3-fight win streak looked really good, and he had it against McKinney as well, right? He was like rock like crazy, and then he got the finish, and in between a great win over Rafael Alves, who got cut by the UFC. I'm still pissed about that. The thing is, like, Dober has fought better opponents, like than Frevola, in my opinion. I like Frevola, I should say, a lot, but man, I can't go against Dober here, man. To be really honest, you know, Dober is like that dog who keeps coming. Doesn't matter how hard you touch him, he keeps coming, and he finds a way to win. You know, he became pretty much a guy who was like he's not going to be for long in the UFC, like a real tough veteran who can knock you out of nowhere, who can finish you out of nowhere. I remember that fight against Dariush, he was looking good, man, back then. Then he got submitted. Yeah, I have to pick Dober here, man. I think, and I got to go all in. I think there will be next pack round. I think first round knockout, man. Drew Dober.
Yeah, the fight's gonna be awesome for as long as it lasts. Unless Frevola just decides to purely wrestle him and grind it out. I mean, it can still be fun. I don't think that's gonna happen here. They both are. They're both good fighters, man. They're both fun to watch. But like Dober, to me, you know, I think he's tougher, man. I think that's what it comes down to, Marcel. Like he's so proven in the UFC at this point. Like his chin is legendary. It's fucking legendary, dude. Like he's just almost impossible to knock out. I think you can get the Frevola's chin and knock him out too. Yeah, probably first round, maybe second round, early second round, but I don't think this fight goes the distance. Because Frevola, he loves just standing and banging. Again, his path of victory would probably be to wrestle Dober, because Dober's takedown defense, 55%, not very good, you know. But I think he's just going to stand and bang with him, and they're going to try to get a bonus. But I think Dober finishes him. So I have the same pick as you, man. Yeah, that's the thing. Frevola's chin is not the greatest, but you know, he's a good fighter. But again, we talked about that with some of the other fighters on this card. Marcel, Phil Hawes, for instance, Dober the GOAT, Dober knockout. Yeah, that's what I think. Let's go to the next fight here. All right, we have. Oh, this is a good one, Marcel, to open up the card. Interesting fight. Another, you know, interesting matchmaking here. We got Charles Jourdain against Kron Gracie. Right? Is that right?
Yeah, Kron Gracie. Yeah.
Is it Kron or Kron?
I think it's Kron. I always say Kron. So
yeah, I'll just say Gracie. All right, we got the odds for this one. Obviously, we got Jourdain minus 195, Kron plus 165. Marcel, what's your thoughts on this one? Oh man, jeez. Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Isn't it a weird match?
It is. It is
tripping me out. It's just like, why are they doing this fight? Why is it opening the card? I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be exciting. Kron doesn't have much experience, but like most of his fights were all submission. Like, all of his wins were by submission. Then obviously Cub, you know, outstruck him. But like that was 4 years ago. Comes back. Why does he come back? What's he trying to prove? Why did the UFC make this fight? It's just making my brain twisted. Jourdain, obviously a pretty good fighter, not a great fighter, a pretty good fighter. You know, fun guy to watch stand and trade, but like the last couple of fights, Marcel getting taken down to the ground, losing because of the takedowns and the ground control. And he's been submitted to the UFC. On the feet, obviously, he'd have the advantage, but like, I don't know, man. I'll go for the upset, Marcel. I'll take Gracie by submission. I don't usually pick these guys that come back from like long layoffs, but Jourdain's ground, it just hasn't looked good. I think this dude can sell out and submit him in the first round. That'll be my pick, Marcel. I'll take it under. Oh, excuse me, guys. My voice is a little shy right now. I've been kind of sick the last few days. I'll try to make it through the next couple of fights, though, Marcel.
No problem.
But yeah, take the upset.
First of all, I want to say, if Alex Buunen, if you're watching, brother, suck my D, because I wanted to break a fight here on the podcast, and you just broke it. So
which fight was it?
Brandon Allen against Bruno Silva, UFC Jacksonville.
Main event or no?
No, it's not the main event.
It's a good fight.
Yeah. So suck it, Alex, but good scoop, dude. Yeah, this fight, I pretty much think the same. You know, the thing is, like, I saw Charles Jourdain last time. He got pretty much out wrestled by Shane Burgos, in that fight. He was better stand up. I got to give him that. But on the ground, Shane out wrestled him. Then he fought Nathaniel Wood. Didn't look good in that fight. Nathaniel Wood looked really good in that fight, actually. And for Kron Gracie, the thing is, like, he had so much hype coming into the UFC, submitting Alex Caceres in the first round with a submission. Then he fought Cub Swanson, I think was a favorite coming into that fight, and then decided to stand and bang with Cub Swanson. That wasn't a good idea. He lost by decision. I think even his dad after that fight was like, dude, why did my son went striking with Cub Swanson? I don't understand it. That was Rickson Gracie, by the way, his dad.
Yeah.
So I think he goes back to his normal ways, goes to the ground, and submits Charles Jourdain. I have a first round submission for Kron Gracie here.
Well, we have a consensus dog Marcel, but we have a first round submission prediction for him. That's interesting. Let me check the odds on that. Gracie by submission plus 275, and then would you say first round? Okay, plus 350. So that's interesting. Yeah, I like. Don't you find the matchmaking interesting?
Yeah, it's a really weird matchmaking, but I like it. I have no problem with it. The thing is, like, you look at from the UFC perspective, Charles Jourdain lost his last 2 fights, and he lost with the wrestling from Shane Burgos. And didn't look good against Nathaniel Wood. And I think they still believe in Kron Gracie. He has a name Gracie, so they put him against him. So yeah,
that's what I think too. But again, if he can't get him to the ground, he's probably going to get lit up on the feet. But I also feel like Jourdain's hittable too. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, consensus dogs, which is interesting. I wasn't expecting that, Marcel. To be honest with you, that's interesting. I also feel like we'll have a consensus on this fight too, but it's because this favorite is really good. Movsar Evloev taking on Bryce Mitchell, Marcel, in the featherweight division. Evloev minus 265, Mitchell plus 225. I'll just say it right now, Evloev wins this fight, and he probably wins a decision. That's what I think. But for me, it's just I think Mitchell's decent, but I do think Evloev can get him down. I really do think he'll get him down. Consistently get top control. Probably won't submit him. Bryce Mitchell, obviously good submission defense. It's possible, but probably not. But Evloev wins this fight and hopefully gets like a top, 10 opponent, I guess. Top 5 after this. I think he's really good. It'd be nice for him to get a finish here. It'd help his career out. But yeah, every time I look at this fight, I just think he wins a decision. Like, that's what I think. What do you think, man?
Yeah, the thing is, like, with Evloev, the only thing in the UFC is, like, he mostly have a tough first round all the time. He always has to come into it. Second and third round he mostly wins. I think he's also dominant with the wrestling and gets the win here. Decision. This is pretty much a no-brainer for me on the main card, so I probably have it wrong. So, but Evloev decision. Yeah, of the same, exactly the same.
Next up, we got Yan Jourdain against Jessica Andrade in the UFC Women's Strawweight division. Andrade going back down to weight, Marcel, and she's favored here minus 180. Yan plus 155. I'll start this one too. It's hard to kind of trust her after that last performance, man. Honestly, Jessica, as far as I got bet goes, because I'm going to pick her to win this fight because you look at her career, especially in this division, she's been pretty dominant, but she did not look good in her last fight. And Yan is a good, solid fighter. She's improving. She's looked good in the UFC. I also feel like she's a live dog here, but I'll take Jessica Andrade. I'll take her to win decision here, but I think Jan's got a chance too. What do you think, man?
I think Jan has a chance, but the only chance I think she has is to win a decision. She's not going to finish here, and I think Jessica Andrade at strawweight has too much power for most women to overcome. And I think Andrade knocks her out in the first round. That's what I think. If she doesn't knock her out, there is a chance that Yan Jourdain can win the second and third round, maybe. But I'm going with. I cannot go against Andrade at strawweight, man. She has done so much, and I think many people are going to write her off now because she lost against Blanchfield. But that was at 125 and on 1 week's notice. So this is a full camp. This fight actually was already planned when she took the Blanchfield fight. This fight was supposed to happen already. This wasn't announced. I knew about this fight was supposed to happen. So then they took the Blanchfield fight, and this fight was still on, but it wasn't signed at that time, and then they signed it after the Blanchfield fight.
Someone's asking, what's up, man? He says, fight goes distance. I think so. Marcel thinks the finish is coming. You said finish?
Yeah, first round.
I'm thinking a decision in this fight too, but like Jessica's got power, so I don't know. But yeah. Anyways, let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. We got the co-main event, guys. Great fight here. It's too bad it's short notice, you know. Like, I wish they had a full camp, but they're both veterans. They're both professionals. They'll get it done. Bilal Muhammad taking on Gilbert Burns, UFC welterweight division. 5 rounds, Marcel. We got to point that out. This is a 5-round fight. Odds for this one, guys. Very close odds. Burns minus 130. Bilal plus 110. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, it's a style matchup. You know, you got like you got Gilbert Burns' his 3rd fight this year, and you got Bilal first fight this year, and we know Bilal only finishes in Abu Dhabi. So, yeah, I mean, I favor Burns in this fight. You know, I like Burns a lot. I think he has more ways to win. Bilal pretty much has to get him down, I think, and take him and keep him down. But Burns is good off his back as well. I think it goes to a decision probably. You know, and I think Burns wins the fight. But wouldn't be surprised if Bilal wins the fight. But man, I mean, I have nothing against Bilal. Don't get me wrong. It's boring as fuck, dude. You know. He did very well against Brady. I got to give him that. I didn't expect that, you know. But overall, man, I mean, honestly, like I said last time, no disrespect to Bilal, but who wants to see Bilal fighting Edwards too? You know, probably his family and his teammates. But, I mean, give me Burns' decision. And I think it's a close fight. I think can go either way, man.
Yeah, they're both, you know, obviously really good fighters. Man, I've been pretty good at picking Burns' fight. I've been bad at picking Bilal's fights lately, especially like the last couple. Like, he won as an underdog. Obviously, he's looked really good. I don't know, man. I mean, I think Bilal could win this fight myself. I do. I'm gonna probably pick him here. Like, it's not an easy one to pick, like you're saying, but I just feel like he has level. Like, you talk about leveling up. He's in his prime right now, man. Like, that's what I saw in the last fight. It was impressive, you know. The last couple have been impressive to me. Like, I didn't think he'd beat Luka, and then he beats him. Like, Wonder Boy, the wrestling's good. He's got amazing takedown defense. So that's the thing with this fight. Like, Gilbert obviously is a great fighter, but his best attribute is his submissions. That's his top attribute. He's gonna have a hard time getting Bilal to the ground. If anything, Bilal will be the guy getting the takedowns, I think. Burns' takedown defense is pretty bad, 47%, but obviously, you know, doesn't get takedowns against. I don't know, man. Bilal's impressed me, man. I keep betting wrong against this guy. I think I'm gonna finally pick him and get it right. So Bilal by either like late finish or because it's 5 rounds or decision.
That's pretty much. I'm pretty good in my Burns picks. And I'm pretty bad in my Bilal picks.
And I take Bilal. Yeah, I know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Let's get some comments. Yeah, people are kind of splitting on this fight. Yeah, it's kind of it's tricky, right? Like, it's short notice.
Mm-hmm.
They're both risking their streaks. I kind of I kind of wish it was a catch weight just to help these guys out. But hey, it's a big fight. I'm assuming the winner is saying, well, how is the winner getting a title shot from Covington? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm assuming I paid a lot by the UFC. That's all I said. All right, Marcel, we go to the main event here.
5 rounds in the UFC bantamweight division.
Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. There we go. Odds for this one. So the odds have been really interesting for this fight, guys. So the odds opened with Sterling as a minus 150 favorite. And then over the course of like the last couple of months, it's kind of been like steadying out. And like last week I checked it was like slight favorite for Sterling, but now it's kind of like looking like more of the money's coming on Cejudo. He's a slight favorite now. So minus 115 Cejudo, minus 105 with Sterling. What's your thoughts on this one, man? What's your pick?
First of all, I have to do some advertisement. My colleague Dennis has done interviews last week with both Sterling and Cejudo, which are watchable on Eurosport.nl. Yeah. By the way, Sterling he's in the interview. He's to Dennis. He's like, Do you know that Henry did win an Olympic gold medal? And do you know that? And Dennis was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure because he never mentions that. It's like laughing about that. It's such a difficult fight again because we don't know how Cejudo comes back after 3 years. Sterling, I think Sterling doesn't get enough credit for what he has done so far. Many people are still like on that Jan thing the first time, which I also didn't really agree with what happened there. But hey, he got in the rematch, he won. I still think that should have been a draw, that fight, but then he would have still been the champion. And the Dillashaw fight was a good win, And despite of Dillashaw was injured, I don't care. That's not on Sterling, He got the job done. Third title defense. If he wins this fight, he's the most successful UFC bantamweight champion of all time, So that's crazy, actually. I still rank Cruz higher in my legacy of UFC bantamweight, but I got to give it to Sterling. Great if he does it. Cejudo, two-time for a two-division champion before, defended both belts, I think. What can I say about it? It's... Listen, man, Cejudo has world-class wrestling. We know that Sterling has good wrestling. Stand-up, both guys pretty decent. I feel like I just can't pick Cejudo, man, coming off a 3-year layoff, in my opinion. I think Sterling is a lot bigger as well, and I feel like Sterling is getting better in the UFC. He really grew from basically a wrestler into a complete mixed martial artist, in my opinion. And I think he beats Cejudo, man. I don't get a finish here. Maybe I should do, but I don't do it. I think I go with a decision win. But I'm picking Aljo here. I think he gets the win and gets the defense's belt for a third time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's not easy either. But I gotta go with Cejudo. That's my pick here more so because, listen, man, they're both great fighters. They both are. But I feel like the wrestling, I think he'll be able to cancel a lot of the wrestling that Sterling's going to do. So fight will probably be a lot of striking involved. And yeah, Sterling's pretty good in the feet, but man, Cejudo's got some serious power, dude. I know he's smaller, Marcel, and everything, but like, man, like he's a guy that I haven't, again, another guy I haven't picked great, and I picked Sterling's fights pretty good lately, and then Cejudo's not great, but like he's just won me over. I mean, I get it, like looking back some of the wins, it's like older guys and stuff, but like, man, he was just destroying these dudes. There's no reason for me to think that he can't knock out Sterling either. Like Sterling's been knocked out, he can get knocked out again.
Adam.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a nasty question?
Maybe.
What color is your no, that's what I want to say. You picked Cejudo, but for example, you picked Gane in the Jones fight, right?
Yeah.
Why are you not picking Cejudo after such a long layoff?
I just feel like he's one of those special athletes like a GSP. They can do it. Like I think he won't miss a beat. That's what I think. But
okay, yeah.
He also hasn't like left the game completely. Like he's obviously been involved as like a coach and stuff. So like he stayed in pretty good shape. Like he had a family, right? He started a family, so I get it, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
He said to Dennis that he was already training for. He's like, I'm actually been out for 2 years. I've been training a full year already, like preparing myself for this fight. So yeah, it's for me, it's really a pick 'em, and the only reason I feel like I'm going with Sterling is because he's been active and he's been growing, and
he leveled up in that TJ fight, right? Like I know TJ was injured or whatever, but like still destroyed him. But like, how about the first Jan fight, Marcel? He was not winning that fight.
I absolutely agree.
But we can also we can't
say the same thing about Cejudo against Moraes.
True. No, absolutely.
So, there are so many question marks.
Yeah, but I do feel like Cejudo. Listen, I don't usually bet on the guys that have the long layoffs, but they do win still. It's not like it's an automatic loss. So I know what you're saying though.
I love this discussion, by the way, because I'm also not sure. I'm trying to find a way to think to get myself more confident in my pick because I'm really not. I think it can go either way, And I have the feeling you're also not extremely confident about it. You're also like, it can go either way, but you're more siding Cejudo. I'm more siding Sterling. I think it's really a difficult fight. I think after the first round, you can pretty much see how it goes. That's what I think,
Yeah, and like I honestly, wasn't totally like. So you picked both the favorites. I picked both the underdogs. Watch it be 1-1. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll both get 1 point each. But yeah, just looking through the card again, Marcel. So we both picked Gracie as an underdog. That was a consensus dog.
Yeah.
You picked Braxton Smith as a dog, right?
Oof.
Yeah. And I had Bilal and that's the other dog I had. So the main event's up to pick them. But again, there's some 50-50 fights. Let me get some comments here, guys.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So Mally get the winner? Yeah, I think so. Sterling's cardio scares me. Says Marcus. Cejudo survives. Like he wins. That's kind of what I think, but we'll see. It's gonna make me angry if people try to take this one away from Aljo. If it looks good, people will say Henry's too old. Probably we'll see he looked like washed up or whatever, ring rust. Yeah, exactly. Henry's just a beast, man. I don't know. Why was he off? He started a family. He had a kid. And he didn't really need the money, I guess. Yeah, he's been like doing it for so long. Maybe this was a good thing for him. I'm hoping, man. Because like I think him coming back, he's a big name. He's really good in the mic, Marcel. Like you could set up some big fights there. You could do that fight against Volk, a super fight, Marcel, for him to go for the 145 pound to become the first guy with 3 belts. That'd be crazy.
It's possible.
How do you guys think the fight will play out? Lots of striking, lots of scrambles. I think it takes place in the feed mostly. That's what I think. Yes, Antoine. I thought it was good personally. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Birch. Like your face gets mangled there too. You guys' first girlfriend? Yeah, I think so. Right. So I think they're married now or engaged. Anyways.
I think the girl where he was with, it's not the girl where he is with now.
Oh,
when he stopped fighting.
Oops.
So
fair enough. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's it, Marcel. Like anything else you want to say on this card? It's a good card, right?
It's definitely a fun card, you know. I mean, there are some people who are complaining about it. There are also some people who are liking it, but there's always with the UFC cards, you know. There are always people who are complaining about it. Some people are really liking it. Sometimes something like it's not really a good card, and you're like hyping it up. Not you, but some people. And sometimes I'm like, you're really complaining about nothing because it's a pretty good card, you know. So there's always something. But I like the card. And listen, man, we are not the people the UFC pointing at. You know, we watch all cards, so. They don't give a shit what we think. They are more, the cards are always a little bit, how do you say that? It's more pointed to the casuals because they bring in the money pretty much for the UFC because we watch it anyways, you know, so.
I get it. Okay, cool. Do you guys think Sugar will face off the winner? He won't, but they should. Do they want Connor to be the first show champ? Maybe. Yeah, no, my voice is destroyed, man, because I've been kind of sick the last couple of days. I appreciate that, though.
Beertje, you're from Belgium.
Sorry?
Okay. I said, Beertje, you're from Belgium. You don't have to pay $80. But are you sick or what?
I picked up like something, or the weather kind of changes, so it's like a little bit. It was warm last week, and then it got cold this week, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I just been stuffed up the last couple of days, but I appreciate it. But I made it through the 2 hours, so I did it. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say, man. Are you good? You're good to go?
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it was a fun podcast. I enjoyed it a lot. And do you want me to close it?
Sure.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for watching this time again. We're always fun to do this on Mondays with the man, MMA Martin, over here, the OG, the Canadian, whatever you want to call him. He's the man. I love doing this with him. We're doing this for, I think, over 2 or 3 years already right now, right? It's pretty long, as long as we do it, and we still enjoy it a lot. So thank you so much for tuning in again, guys. Next week, we are back with the recap of UFC 288 and with the preview of UFC Charlotte. And myself, Big Master 24, as you see here. And guys, have a fun week. Have lots of fun watching the fights this weekend. And we're out.